Lydia Charilaou is the founder of Labyrinth Consultants. She has 15 plus years experience in HR and learning and development roles, and she's recently started a couple of networks. Thank you very much for being my guest on the podcast today, Lydia.
Thank you, Liz. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
So your business is all about helping businesses to retain good people, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I wanted to dig into your background first. I know you've had over 15 years working in HR and learning and development, but what did you study? What's your background, Lydia?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and taking it back a little bit. I think the key things that listeners should know about me is from an academic standpoint, my undergraduate is in psychology, which very much helps drive the conversations and the empathy and the understanding for others in what I do. I worked first of all as a project manager before I realised that the psychology and project management combination was leaning towards an HR career. And so then my further qualifications are in HR management, and then a myriad of other certifications along the way.
And what was it attracted you to learning and development? I know you've done a lot in that field.
I'm trying to think now. I think when I was a project manager, I attended a manager it was back in the day, like all in person, everything was done in person, and I was given the opportunity to attend a manager development program. It was like a residential, etc. And I just think that's where my love of L&D came from, because I realised that I loved everything they were doing, and I felt that that was a natural fit for me. So I think that's really where it started. And then I kind of went into an HR role at the beginning of my career and naturally fell into learning and development. So I don't think it wasn't a career that I chose, at the age of 17 and thought, oh, this is what I want to do. I didn't even know that this existed at that point in my career and my life. So I kind of very much fell into it. But I think that the continuous learning and the high curiosity that I have as an individual has probably been a reason that I have stayed and really thrived in this environment for such a long time.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the companies that you worked for and what it was that you did for them.
So I started my career in telecommunications with Orange, and I have had a career in lots of different industries, actually, ranging from technology to food ingredients and solutions, music. So lots of different,
Very varied,
different experiences. This is very, very varied, in both in regional roles and global roles. So and that's kind of covered generalist HR, learning and development, talent management, inclusion, diversity and equity, engagement and performance. So I've pretty much touched on every part of the people and culture role that someone could at some point in my career. But the things that I love most and the things that keep drawing me back are supporting high performing teams, supporting people with their growth, creating environments of belonging. Those, I guess, are the common themes, and things that in all of the roles that I mentioned, I played a part in. So, ranging from designing manager frameworks, manager and leadership programs, to looking at putting the first talent management process in place, and that included succession planning and talent pipelines, to creating ED&I strategies. So it's been varied, but like I said, I think the things that I enjoy most and the ones that light me up are the ones that as I mentioned, the growth, the development, the coaching aspect, and really that mission that I have as an individual, which is creating environments of belonging.
Yeah. So when did you decide to take the step to start your own business, and why did you decide to do that?
Again, a great question. So I have been in business for just a year. It's September 2025. It was my year anniversary, and I left the corporate world. Let's just say because for many reasons, but one, I realised that the systems I was operating in weren't built for people like me. And I'll explain a little bit what I mean about that. Um, a few different things. One is I am a woman of a certain age, and certain things started changing for me, and I felt that I had to explain myself a lot. I felt that I had to set boundaries about my sleeping patterns impacting, or the lack of my sleeping patterns impacting how I would show up certain days. If I didn't have the flexibility, if I wasn't enabled and empowered to have flexibility to to basically explain, actually today it's better off for me to work from home because I didn't sleep last night. So to get into London for an hour to like try and find a desk in a hot desking environment is not, it's not going to be the most beneficial. So I think that was a big aspect of having to ask for things that were and not always get the positive response about the accommodations, maybe you can call it, that I needed to help them, help me thrive. Around the same time, I went through assessments and discovered that I am someone with autism and ADHD combination. And so again, there was a lot of self-discovery, physical and from a brain and way of working perspective.
Yeah.
And so for me, all of these things made me realize that actually I want to be part of creating an environment for others like me and not like me, but others that need a different way of working. So how can I share my experiences, both personal but also my professional experiences and knowledge, like combination, with other organisations to create environments that their people want to stay in, not because of necessity, but out of choice.
Yeah. So you started Labyrinth September 2024. Who is it that you...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Good catch. I'm going forward in time instead of backwards.
Yeah, so you started September 2024, and tell me about who it is that you help and what you do for them.
So I focus on working with tech teams specifically. The reason I do that is because all the data points tell us that especially scale-ups, those who maybe have acquired Series A or Series B funding, are asked to grow their team. Like part of the funds that come to them is because the investor wants them to grow their team and therefore grow the revenue. And so a lot of the time, smaller organisations perhaps who don't have HR presence haven't thought about building the infrastructure and the environment to bring people in to thrive, to create this psychological safety, to create the systems that are going to enable people to do these things. And therefore, the churn is very high in these environments. So typically 18 months before somebody decides to leave. And there's various reasons why people leave, but these are just patterns that I'm researching and I see when I speak to people. So I focus on working with those teams specifically for that reason, and help them discover really what the root cause is of these challenges. So it's very easy to see for anyone that we're hiring someone and it's taking us typically 3 to 3 to 4 to 5 months to hire the key talent we want to bring in, and then 18 months later they're leaving. So that's all, creating an environment for them where they can't thrive, they can't grow because or they can't sustain the growth because of the challenges that leave. So not only are people leaving, but you have that mentality of the person that's left behind, that's going to have to pick up the pieces, that is going to have to speak to the client that maybe isn't feeling the most empowered to do their role because they've seen these things happening.
Yeah.
So I work with them, I work with their leaders to build systems. So I'll review their processes, such as their recruitment or their performance and many others. I have a look at maybe where there's some gaps, how we can plug them. And also leaning on my learning and development background, coach the leaders and create programs for people to build those cultures of psychological safety.
Yeah. So whereabouts are the businesses you're working with? Is there any geographical restrictions on where you can work? What kind of size of company are you working with as well?
So no geographical restrictions apart from the cash flow. so if someone wants to fly me over to New York to do something, more than happy to do that. But the reality is that these are small businesses that are just scaling up now. So typically up until now they have been UK based, so up and down the country. And probably looking at a size of, 30, 40 at the smaller size, just about getting to a point where they would like some support, to about 150, 200.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say I can't work with others, and I haven't worked with other teams on other matters. The business that I was in before starting my own consultancy was 20,000 people, and I had a global role. So my experience does expand larger organizations. Specifically, I love working most with the smaller tech businesses because I can see how I can add value, and I love seeing those penny drop moments with them when they see the change. They can see how the team are responding to the way that they're now communicating or giving feedback to them. So that's my sweet spot.
Yeah. And do you think that being neurodivergent is now helping you? Is that useful in your business?
Another great question. Useful. I think that it's definitely shone a light on being more patient with others as well, and understanding that everyone has a different way of working.
Yeah.
I definitely ask a lot more questions about what the expectations are, and try to provide services that are as clear as possible and to the needs of the clients. So that's helpful, and especially in the tech world, it's again, don't want to generalize or put people in buckets, but it does show up more. So bringing someone in that understands and gets how the employees may respond to a way of working or an ask that might want to work on, is definitely a plus.
Yeah. So how many businesses have you worked with during your first year?
I wasn't expecting that question. I don't know, but I mean, I think that it's been about 10 or so. I'm just trying to count mentally. It's been, I would say that about that amount.
And are you finding that there are common issues that they're all experiencing?
With regards to
you talk about churn and losing people and trying to retain people. Is everyone sort of finding the same thing happening?
So there are certain industries that have higher churn, one being tech, and the two others are hospitality and retail. there's common ground there because of with hospitality and retail is the nature of the role. So when I've done market research before with organisations in those industries, the challenges that I hear them face are that people don't want to do shift work. Is a big thing in many of those types of businesses. The pay is a lot lower, and those types of things are potentially driving the churn in those businesses, versus tech where I haven't really heard that the pay is an issue. I think that's different, but I think it's more about the talent that are brought in, especially for these high growth businesses. The expectations are higher because they're looking at people who are highly qualified, from an academic and from an experience standpoint, people that are definitely looking at their growth and their development. And one key thing that I hear a lot of is that they're highly curious. So often people will leave a business because not because of the pay. This is in tech, or because the shift patterns or anything like that, like they would in retail, but more about them not feeling that they have autonomy to kind of like innovate, or maybe at the speed that they want to innovate. I literally just was working with a client recently, and they wanted to put a program together, and it shifted back and forth so many times, and the challenge is that they're moving so fast that sometimes they're not having enough time to stop and think about what it is that they actually want to achieve, but also more importantly help bring those teams along the journey with them. So from an outsider perspective, you can really see how there is a struggle between the business wanting to make sure that their revenue is going to obviously meet and exceed expectations, but then them saying they actually want to help and support and develop their team to get there, but then doing things like the behaviour is then going against it. So there's a little bit of that happening from a pattern perspective. So it is challenging as a person on the outside who you can see how you can help, but often people might not be ready for that help.
Yeah. So what difference do you find that you're making to businesses? What sort of results they're getting having worked with you?
So typical examples would be that teams don't feel maybe like as I go in don't feel safe to give feedback. Perhaps the feedback conversation is more of a tell than an ask. And so at the end of the process, whatever support I'm providing, I would get feedback that would basically speak to, we realised that you had a coaching session with so and so because the way that they had a conversation with us during our performance evaluation was very different. They asked us questions about what we thought about things versus telling us this is what we did right and what we did wrong. So I think if I were to put it in a nice kind of category, I would say that it's a behaviour shift, a positive behaviour shift. And there's obviously lots of different behaviours. That's just one example. But for me, success is getting that feedback that the behaviour to start off with that wasn't for that particular group beneficial or helping has shifted, and the habits that people are now moving forward with are actually supporting with their growth and their success and their career progression.
Yeah. So let's turn to the networking side of things now. Was networking something that you did when you were employed?
I did, but not as much. Well, before COVID, I actually started running my own networking sessions.
Right.
But then I know that died a death.
Oh.
Died a death because during COVID, like many of us, worked extremely long hours in a global role. So working with Asia early morning all the way through to the US in the evening, and it was so much online that I just didn't feel that I wanted to then in the evenings do something online again.
Yeah.
so that didn't work out. But I actually hosted my first in-person session last week, well, I co-hosted with 2 other people.
Yeah.
So that was my first one since post-COVID and post going solo. And yes, so that's now kind of setting me up for what's next.
Yeah. So is that something that you're going to continue to do?
That's the plan. So the one last week was all about AI ethics and the human element in a world of growth. And we had a conversation today about what our next one would be, which we're planning for February in the new year, because we want to give enough lead time. But so there's what do I do, as a person, I'm gonna continue these in-person sessions. I also host a monthly community call, so that's online, called Culture Compass Club.
Yeah.
So that's every second Friday of the month. It's open to anyone who's in a people and culture role, so that encompasses learning and OD and everyone in that group. And each month I bring along 3 topics, and that's based on articles I've read or research. And ultimately, it acts like a think tank. So we have 3 topics, 3 questions. They're all the theme is building cultures of belonging, so very different themes. So this Friday is the one for October. We're talking about hybrid working and whether that creates disengagement. We're talking about mental health and stress, because it's October, mental health awareness. And also neurodiversity, as it's ADHD Awareness Month in October.
That sounds fantastic. Lots going on.
Always.
So how many people do you find attend those?
So we have, because I started this only in 2025. I have 20 people registered so far, and then it's normally about a handful, so each session there's about 5 of us. That's for now. Obviously we're always looking to grow and welcoming anyone that wants to join the sessions, but ultimately I love the depth of the conversation that comes through that and the idea sharing. So it's not always about the quantity, right?
Yeah.
It's also about the quality. So yeah, if anyone's looking to join a think tank, then please feel free to get in touch, and we can send you the details and join.
Fantastic. And tell me just a little bit more about the in-person network. Where do you run that, and who is that one for?
So the one that we did last week was at the Santander Work Cafe. The one in Warren Street is the closest tube station. Whether we do the next one there, I'm not sure, but Santander Work Cafe offers the space for free. It's also about small businesses, building. As long as it's a free event, then because we didn't charge, we're allowed to use the space.
Yeah.
So that's where that one takes place. But as I said, it's all very new, very exciting, and we're always looking for opportunities to do more, to have better, more meaningful conversations with more people.
Fantastic. So my last question then, Lydia, is if people want to contact you either about Labyrinth or about the networking that you've just mentioned, what's the best place for them to find you?
I think the best place is LinkedIn, because that will have all the other details available, and then we can arrange a conversation off the back of that. So I'm sure that the details will be in the show notes.
Yes.
That if you manage to find one other person that has the exact same first and last name as me, you win a prize, honestly.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I
Well,
haven't met anyone yet.
well, thank you very much for being my guest, and I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Likewise, thank you so much, Liz. It's been such a pleasure.